What was mixed signals till yesterday, when on the one hand there was a mandatory disclosure to be done by companies to disclose their cryptocurrency holdings. At the same time, on the other hand, banks were not honoring transactions. It goes on to show that till yesterday there was definitely some sort of a confusion in the minds of India and India's regulators on which side of the legal battle or the legal lines is cryptocurrency. But recent reports are suggesting now that there is possibly a new panel being formed by the government, which is likely to, at least optimists in the crypto world say, which is likely to trash the Subhash Garg committee report, which had recommended a complete outright ban on cryptocurrencies. There is definitely elation and jubilation in the offices of WazirX and Zeppe today, and we are joined with both the gentlemen from both these organizations joining us today. Avinash from Zeppe. Hi, Avinash. Thank you for being with us on the show today. We've also got Siddharth.
Karthik.
Hi, Avinash. We've also got Siddharth Menon joining in. Hi, Siddharth. Siddharth, of course, is from WazirX. And we are live here on Money9 with the two gentlemen from Zeppe and WazirX. So to begin with, Avinash, if I can dip into the mood in your office today, what is it like seeing the reports of a new panel being formed by the government?
Yeah, so obviously we are happy. It's not office, it's like virtual office, but yeah, everyone is happy. I think it's a step in the right direction. I hope the government will also involve the industry in the discussion around the crypto regulation, and we'll have a solid regulation in India at par with what other countries are doing.
Right. So specifically, what are the expectations from this committee's report? Of course, we are hoping that that a complete outright ban is going to be eliminated, and that would be in line with what the Supreme Court had also done last year by quashing the RBI's ban on cryptocurrencies. But specifically, what are the 2-3 aspects that you're expecting, Avinash?
So I think obviously no ban is obviously the first step. What we are expecting is that A, government listens to us. B, we put a framework in place which addresses government's concerns also, whatever they are, and also encourages the legitimate players to do innovations. Because crypto or Bitcoin is like, I think it's the one of the biggest technology innovations in this century. So I think both from government side and our side, we should sit together and come up with something which is acceptable both to the government and to the industry, and encourages innovation.
Right. So, Siddharth, let me come to you. Any conversations on right now with the government? Any expectations on timelines? Where are we right now? Because anything which is not illegal is considered to be legal. But in the case of Bitcoins, now banks are also not complying and transactions are not going through. Not just Bitcoins. In fact, that is true for almost every cryptocurrency being traded on your platform as well. So what is it that we can expect in terms of timelines? And timelines not just for the regulation to come in, but even for these operational hurdles to get out of your way.
Right. I think what happened today is like a big step forward anyway, right? Like where we had a complete confusion for whether this is going to be banned or whether this is going to be not banned. There was a lot of confusion, and luckily for all the traders or all the institutes who are just waiting, or even the entrepreneurs are waiting to sort of start something on crypto. Now they have a clear green signal for them to get started. In terms of timeline, I would love something like this happens tomorrow, day after tomorrow. I would really love that. But considering the fact that this is a very complex topic to even understand, and even in the past we had a lot of educational programs which was done to sort of educate the the people at the parliament, people at different places, trying to tell them what cryptocurrency or crypto assets are, right? So there are a lot of learnings in part, and I'm very happy that at least they are recognized. It is not illegal or not something that we should be banning. At least there's a step forward to it. Now I hope we move really fast and come to a right regulatory framework. But even then, right, even for today, you have entrepreneurs and businesses can get started today, right? And now there's more green signal. And with this, hopefully we'll be able to get back to banks and talk to them and talk to their compliances, and hopefully able to tell them how safe this is and how government looks at it and how RBI looks at it, right? And hopefully get things sorted here.
Right. So you're mentioning green signal. Well, as I see it, I think it is still somewhere between a green and a red. Perhaps, the blinking orange light is where we should see it right now until the findings of the report come out and the recommendations of the report come out. But just to understand, why do you want SEBI to be your regulator and not the Reserve Bank of India, Siddharth?
See, there was a lot of confusion whether it is cryptocurrency. Is it going to be, competing with Indian INR and many things around it, right? So even blockchain, even Bitcoin, everything has evolved since many years, and people even in the blockchain space don't see these cryptos as currency, right? They all see this as assets, and that is how it should be, right? There are many types of these assets, but we all see that as assets. And when you talk about assets, it should be SEBI who should be looking into it. If it was a currency, then I understand it should be RBI. So from this point of view, right, like you simply open up the whole market, and SEBI is always understands what markets is, buy and sell, and now it's just one more digital asset under their belt to regulate.
Right. So point taken when we look at cryptocurrencies as an asset class. And of course,
Right.
I mean, if the regulation were to permit that, and if it just becomes a trading instrument to be bought and sold publicly, it completely makes sense. But like we saw until 2 days ago, when Elon Musk decided not to permit Bitcoins to purchase cars on Tesla, well, he cited other reasons of environment for that. But that notwithstanding, if cryptocurrencies are used as a medium to transact, then isn't the role of RBI a little more central in assuming responsibility? Simply because you can't, in today's context, if you were to compare it with an asset class like, let's say, a mutual fund or gold, mutual funds being regulated by SEBI, you can't today go and buy a car by trading your mutual funds or using mutual funds as your transaction tool. So how does that currency angle to it come into play? So regulating it is not going to be black and white. There have to be more complexities. Avinash, if you can take that on, please.
Yeah. So actually, frankly, when we say that SEBI should be the right regulator, it is what comes to our mind. What is our understanding? Okay, if the government wants RBI to make the regulator, or the government wants some mix of RBI and SEBI, because you can argue both ways to become the regulator. Frankly, I mean, we are happy either way. So, I mean, what we think is that at the end of the day, government should take a calibrated approach, discuss with everyone, and do what is right. I mean, we are not stuck whether it should be RBI or SEBI or a mix of two. We will put our opinion that we think it's less a SEBI. Okay, if there are other arguments that it's not SEBI, it should be RBI or a mix of it, I mean, we are open for that. I mean, I don't think there is, we are stuck anywhere on that point, at least.
Sure. Siddharth, your view on that before we move on?
There are different types of cryptocurrency, and everybody has a different interpretation on this. And while we all want this to be under the SEBI part, like what exactly Avinash said, this is also based on the research with the new panel that has been formed for the cryptocurrency, and their research based on that, how this should be done. For example, in UK, this approach has been more divided. So you have three bodies who are looking into it. Treasury being one. The Bank of UK, so London is being the other one, and then you always have the securities market, which is also looking into this. So I mean, I hope that we also take some inspiration and try to see how this can be done. And either way, this has to be regulated. We just have to figure out where it has to fall. Maybe a umbrella on top of all these things, or maybe something separate, which does takes care of everything else.
Right. And if we were to assume that it's moving in a direction which is favorable to both the players of cryptocurrencies as well as the traders, and I prefer not to call them investors just yet because it's not a formal investing class. If it were to move in favor of them, how long before we actually see transactions ecosystem develop in India? You said there are developers waiting and there are people waiting in the technology space to build products. But do we assume that the transaction space is going to evolve fairly quickly?
So I don't directly see this as like a P2P transaction model. There are a lot of more utility on top of this on blockchain that is happening. There's like identity product that's been built on blockchain. There are products that is there are DeFi products that we are talking about, decentralized finance, where it's not about transaction, but there are like trading instruments that is there that is completely on the blockchain. There are many such products that is being built on. Then every day everybody's trying to figure out probably a Facebook on blockchain, how to do that, which is more decentralized. So when I talk about entrepreneurs, I'm talking about these sort of entrepreneurs, right, who have a lot of ideas, but they're very scared about even starting out, because they don't want to start something and stop immediately, right? So this now opens up that space, and now everybody's more confident, right, like to even start something on this space.
Right. So let's take a departure from speculating what the policy would look like, and move on to something which also seems to be a little foggy at the moment, about the central bank digital currencies also being announced in a couple of forums as something that is likely to emerge in India. And these, as we understand, are not going to be tradable instruments like bitcoins. So what is the role of a CBDC? Avinash, if I can start with you, then I'll come to Siddharth also.
So actually, I don't think there is any competition or relationship between like current crypto assets or cryptocurrency, as we call it, and central bank digital currency. In fact, if you see that, I mean, INR is already digital, or dollar is already digital. When you do UPI, you do Paytm, the transactions are happening digitally. So I'm not sure that whether the government can or will bring the aspects of crypto into what they call is central bank digital currency. For example, decentralization. I don't think they can or will bring decentralization into crypto. I mean, for example, crypto is like a permissionless network. I mean, you can do innovations on that network. You don't need anyone's permission. I don't think government can and will do in central bank digital currency. So I think there are two different things. I mean, obviously we call them like crypto or cryptocurrency. The government would like to
Because
call
the
them
technology
digital
is
currency.
both tend to use
Yes,
blockchain and
yes,
perhaps seen in the same bucket. Sure, point taken,
yes.
Avinash. Siddharth, if I can just build on that and try and get a perspective, that do you think, I was reading this story in The Economist, which suggested gov coins as the digital currencies, which suggested that perhaps banks as we know today could become obsolete with the advent of central bank digital currencies. Do you think that is a little too far-fetched, or is it very much a possibility simply because you would not need intermediary banks and you could hold an account directly with the central bank and everything in any case is digital?
I mean, this is something that we'll have to figure out. How the bank currency is going to come on board. For me, from what I can understand, is probably the medium of technology is going to change, right? So for today, if you are using APIs or you are using other different model, they want to digitize that and bring it into blockchain. Now, what is the advantage of a national currency coming onto the blockchain? There could be, like, for example, if we are talking about transparency, we could have publicly accessible addresses of each bank, and everybody can see the number of INR each bank is holding. That brings in a lot more transparency, and also the settlement and the ledger, the control over the ledger that the blockchain brings is amazing, right? Like, you don't need to worry about one particular one particular singular entity, but you have something, a public ledger, where you are very clear how much of the supply has been divided here. And coming to the Doge part, right? So Dogecoin is still, I would value it more of an asset, which can have its value going up and down. I don't see that being competing with the central currency here.
Right. Sure. Just wanted to also come back to the central issue of cryptocurrencies and this entire concern about no underlying asset really being central to cryptocurrencies, defining its real value. So at some level, Are we talking about going back to the age-old barter system? मेरे पास में 10 है, तुम्हारे पास में 20 है, demand supply कितना है, basis that we marry and we arrive at a price. And hence again, coming to the fact of regulating it, I mean, today if one tweet by an influencer on social media can pull down the value of a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency or push it up, it seems to suggest that it is actually not decentralized as much as we thought it would be. Siddharth?
Yeah, so I think we are at a market which is very naive, right? Just getting started, right? If you were to compare any other market, whether even stock market, gold market, any market that is starting, even when we talk about even in stocks, when you have the first stocks coming in, right, like a new listing, everything is quite volatile because there's a whole difference of believing or not believing.
Performance of a company, there are benchmarks, there is a balance sheet, there's a P&L statement, there's a cash flow. It is easy to gauge where a stock would go. In the case of cryptocurrencies, how do you gauge it? I mean, tomorrow a group of 10 influencers decide that, okay, I'm not interested in this anymore. There goes all your investment.
Correct. I mean, and this problem was even worse, probably 5 years back, right? Like that even I could tweet and I could move the price. But if you see, things are just getting matured. Today, you still have some influencers, probably able to, because you think about it, these traders, they are completely driven by sentiments at this point, right? Like because they're still exploring the value of what it gives. We are talking about digital gold, if Bitcoin is digital gold, right? We are still trying to explore the value of whether it is going to be, not going to be. There's a lot of speculation here. But as and when years pass and we go through these multiple cycles, there's more belief in this. People start accepting this, and then the volatility also drops. Then you need a lot more people, or maybe even a country, to probably move the prices there. Right.
Right. So we are live right now, and we've got a couple of comments also coming in. No specific questions as I can see right now. I'll request my colleague Rohit to just flash some of the comments. And I hope that all our viewers could also send us some specific questions if you do have. In the interim, we'll just continue the conversation a little bit longer. And just on that point of moving prices up and down, how does an investor really today understand how long he or she should hold on to a cryptocurrency? In the world of trading in markets, of course, one understands that being invested in the long term is going to generate wealth for you. Here, it could be staying invested just for a day, or possibly staying invested even for 5 years and getting no returns.
Right. Right. So I think as a user, first you have to understand whether I'm an investor or a trader, right? If I'm an investor, then I should do my research, right? Try to understand the value of what it holds and where it can go. Not in a short term, but probably in a long term, right? That's the difference between a trader and an investor. So if I'm an investor, I would think about I will do my research, try to understand where Bitcoin is going, why smart people are coming onto this industry and trying to do something around it. If I believe, and it's completely on me, and if I believe I can take this risk and I feel that something like this is going to go big, then I would invest in it. But if you're going to trade and things are going to be very volatile anyway, right? Like so trading, I don't recommend a novice or investor to start trading, because trading is an altogether different game. But if you are in for something long, you don't need to worry about what's happening on a daily basis, because I am being there since last 3-4 years, and in the business, but probably almost 5 or 6 years in the whole Bitcoin space. And I understand, right? You move through multiple volatility, but at the end, if you're an investor, it's a long-term play for all of us.
Right. And Avinash, if I could just come back to you before we close the discussion on this very interesting subject. What if the new panel, whenever it does get formed, and the recommendations were to actually go south, right? So the green light that Siddharth was referring to, what if it turns out to be a red light? What happens to the money of the investors who are already invested in the idea of cryptocurrencies on your platform? Who bears the brunt of their losses?
So actually 2-3 things here. One is that obviously this should be one consideration for the government when they are putting the regulation in place, that there are millions of people and thousands of crores of investment has already gone into crypto in India. So and these are, as Siddharth said, it's like smart people who are entering into crypto industry. So our hope and our this thing is that government takes like a calibrated approach, a balanced approach rather than doing any knee-jerk action, basically. So they should think over it properly. I mean, obviously we want the regulation tomorrow, but we don't want we want regulations which are thought through. So even if it takes time, government should consult everyone, consult the exchanges, consult the startups, consult the investors who have put in money there, and come up with something which is more balanced, so to say. As far as investors are concerned, last time also when RBI ban came in, so everyone in the industry, they protected customer money, whether it is their INR or their Bitcoin. No one lost money because of exchanges, so to say. But yeah, if government comes something needed, for example, what happened last time when suddenly there was one line in the parliament session agenda, and like within hours, people lost like 15-20%. So that kind of thing should not happen. It should be a well thought of approach from the government, no like knee-jerk reaction action.
Right. So a calibrated approach is what the government has already stated on more than one occasion. So that calibrated approach could very well say that yeah, blockchain is allowed. Central bank digital currencies will come, but trading in bitcoins and alike may not be allowed. So then what?
So if you can't trade, then how will you buy things, right? So for anything, right? So trading, even if you want to buy and sell crypto, even if you just want to buy, somebody has to sell. So that itself makes it like a trade, right? So it's impossible to have an industry and still, want to get the whole blockchain industry calibrated, growing without trading. So trading is the basics of this particular industry. Irrespective of that, from an regulatory point of view, I just believe that when they say calibrated, it could be more around certain limits that we are playing around with. There would be certain declaration that probably needs to be done, and things like that. If you go into that approach, I think that's the right way to do it, because we are not containing, we're just containing the volume, but also at the same time let it also develop, right, rather than completely stopping something altogether. Right. So, in my opinion, that's what I'm looking for from a calibrated approach.
Right. Siddharth, Menon, Avinash, Shekhar, thank you so much for joining us on Crypto Classroom. I think a very interesting discussion, very fruitful. And here's hoping that the new recommendations that come in do work in the favor of whatever works better for India as a whole. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks.
That's a wrap on the Classroom. Thank you so much for staying tuned with us here on Money9. Goodbye.
Thanks.